Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's episode, I'll be speaking on the possible interview questions at the US Embassy. Now before I proceed, if you are yet to subscribe, please kindly subscribe to this channel. Click on the notifications icon, that's the bell icon beside the subscribe button, so whenever I make a new post, you don't get to miss it. Now let's get into it. First of all, just in case you're wondering, what is F1 visa? F1 visa is a visa category for international students that are planning to study in the United States. There are some basic things you need to know when you're going for this interview. Everything starts from your application. Just ensure that your application is properly filled, no errors, no mistakes. I might make a new video on that just to show you the step-by-step method on how to fill this form, but just ensure that you fill the form correctly. After filling the form correctly, you should also ensure that you print out all the required documents. So now these are the following documents you should take to the embassy. Number 1, your passport. Number 2, the printout of your appointment confirmation. Number 3, the printout of your DS-160. Number 4, your I-20. Number 5, the service fee receipt. Number 6, print out of your statement of account. It could also be the statement of account of your sponsor. Number 8, supporting documents, and basically that's all you need to bring to the embassy. These are tips to guide you at the interview. So number 1, ensure that you get to the venue very early, at least 1 hour before your interview time. And that's because it gives you time to be more relaxed, you're more calm, you're able to gather everything you need to do your best form. Or like you getting stuck in hold up and you already walked out before you get there. Number 2, be confident. Number 3, avoid scanning. Now what people do most of the time is this. Once you get to the embassy, you must have heard of a particular man or woman, the visa officer, that doesn't really give visa, and you're just trying to scan out. That point, you are just giving yourself unnecessary stress. All the visa officers give visas. So it's just your ability to be able to, articulate whatever you have to say in a well-defined manner. And another mistake people do is this: they're not audible enough. See, it's better to speak loud than to speak in a way that this person will hear you. And you have to understand that the interview time is less than 2 minutes most of the time. So, and these guys are not ready to now start saying, repeat yourself, because they have more people to attend to. So if you're not audible enough, the guy will just act like he heard what you said, and they'll just hand you over the blue paper. So, but that's why you have to always ensure you speak audibly, speak loud, so that they can get whatever you're saying properly. Lastly, be confident, don't be pompous. Now, there's a difference between being pompous and being confident. So whenever you get there, be confident, smile, and say whatever you have to say. So those are some of the tips you need to understand for this interview. Now, the last part, the possible questions. Now, these are the possible questions that they might ask you at the interview. Number 1, which is the most popular one, why this particular university? Always ensure that you've done your research. So for example, you could say, one of the reasons why I picked this university is because I realized it's one of the top 100 universities in the US. I also say that they offer one of the highest quality of education in the world. They are top rated. They produce some of the best graduates in the world, and the alumni are great people in tech, in business, and stuff like that. So again, another question they might ask you is, why this particular course? Now, most people just say like, oh, this is my dream course, I've always wanted to study this course. It's not convincing enough. One of the easiest way to answer that is this. For example, if you're studying mass communication, you could say stuff like, oh, I particularly picked this particular university or this particular course because they offer this particular course and extra. You always find out that most of the time, the particular course you're offering, there will always be something special for different university. So just ensure you look for that unique quality in that particular course and just express it the best way possible. Don't just give them oh, I've always wanted to become a lawyer. That doesn't make sense. That's not convincing enough. And you could also align it with your career goals. Oh, this particular course falls in line with my career goals, and I realized that over in this particular university they offer this course and they offer extra which is not available in this country. Just give them a reason why you are not studying in your country, why you want to study abroad. Another question they often ask is, who is sponsoring you? The best way to answer that question is this. Let me give an example. My father is my sponsor. He's the founder and head of something conglomerate, and they have offices in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Benin Republic. And it's a conglomerate, or is a company of more than 50 staff with an annual turnover of over ₦1 million. But don't lie, just tell them the fact. So that way, you're just proving that your father is boxed up enough to be able to pay that school fees. The main purpose of asking that question is just to be sure that you have enough funding for that particular course, because they know that the education is not cheap. Another question they often ask is, what are your plans after your study? Now, this is a very common question, and the reason why they ask that question is this: they want to ensure that you're coming back home. So the best way to answer that question is this: oh, yes, after my study, I'll be coming back to my home country, either to pick up a position in my father's business or to be, just give them a compelling reason why you'll be coming back home. Don't just say, oh, I'll finish and I'll come back home. No. Give them a reason why, or if there's a company you are targeting, something like, I plan to work in NNPC, and I realized because it's one of the biggest oil firm in Nigeria, and currently in shortage of this particular skill, and my plan is just to go there, come back and hold this particular position in that company. Sometimes if you get funding, they might not ask you who is sponsoring, they might say who is paying for the deficit. Now it's almost like who is sponsoring you. So same applies to it. So you can just, oh, I've gotten a scholarship based on my academic whatever, and my father will be responsible for paying the deficit. He is the owner and the founder of this company with annual turnover of this, with staff strength of this. They're into manufacturing, textile, this. Give them a feel that you know about your father's business, because if your father is into those stuff, you should be able to define and talk about it. And sometimes another question they usually ask is this: so what are you currently doing? Now, one of the mistakes people make is they'll just say nothing. Irrespective of whatever you're doing, don't lie, but always make them understand that you're not idle. So you could say stuff like, oh, I'm currently working at NNPC or MTN or whatever as a social media manager or as a business analyst, and I do this. Make sure you're very detailed, and whenever you're talking about your passion, if they ask you stuff like about your school, about your course, or about what you have done before, what you're doing, just make sure you say it with passion. Smile. There's a difference between when you are tensed or when you are lying and when you are saying the truth. So for example, if you ask me, I could say something like, oh, I'm a YouTuber and I've been making videos helping people to study abroad, how to come back to Nigeria, to develop Nigeria, how to build Africa and stuff like that. With your passion, you have to put in passion and put in a lot of energy into that particular aspect. If you're not currently doing anything, for example, maybe you're just waiting for admission, you could just say something like, I'm currently volunteering at a particular organization, or I'm currently working with my mother. So for example, we all help our parents probably in their businesses. Is it a supermarket? Is it like a poultry or a farm? Oh, currently I work in my mother's farm as an assistant, helping her to develop her business in this regard. You say something like, I'm currently undergoing a tutorial on this particular course to be able to help me better whenever I get there. So just give them something that you're doing currently, not just, oh, I'm not currently doing anything. And something they could ask you something like, are you currently married, or do you have children? The easiest way to answer that is they just want to know if you have home ties. So for example, if you're not married, you could say something like, oh, I'm not currently married, but I have a fiance in Nigeria and I can't wait to go back there, get my education and come back to marry. Or you could say something like, oh, I'm not currently married, but I have a family in Nigeria. My father, my mother, my siblings are here, and my plan is just to go there, develop myself as much as possible, and come back home. This is more like a test question. They want to know if you'll be coming back or if you have a ties to your home country. So for example, if you say something like, oh, my sister is in Canada, my brother is in the US, my this is in that, they understand that, oh, the family is already on the jackpot mode. So you have to be very smart when they're asking that question. Another question they often ask is, when did you graduate? They might ask this to know if there's an educational gap. So for example, if you finish your secondary school in 2005, and all of a sudden, this is 2022, you want to go and do your BSc. They'll be like, why didn't you do it all this while? It could be the fact that because you're planning to jackpot, that's why you're doing it now. So they might not give you the visa. Or probably you've done your BSc in year 2005 and you now want to do your master's now. Like, the educational gap is huge. This may also, prevent them from. So that's why they ask this question. So always ensure that even if they ask you that question, you could say stuff like, oh yes, I graduated in 2005, but 2005 and 2000 whatever, I've been doing short courses. Just give them a reason to show that you don't have an educational gap. Because with huge educational gap, there's a chance that the visa might be rejected. Another question they might ask is, why didn't you do this course in your country? So now sometimes this is a very tricky question. So the best way to answer it is this: oh yes, this course is available in Nigeria, but I realize that the practical aspect, so for example, if you're studying anything that involves media or science, like in Nigeria, there is non-availability of all these practical materials to be able to play with. Or you could say stuff like, oh, this should have to strike. I realized that a 4-year program might later become 6 years. And in my undergraduate years, I was supposed to graduate 4 years and I ended up spending 7 years. So I don't want this to affect my career. I don't want this to affect my goal, because my goal is to become one of the best whatever in Nigeria in the next 10 years. And realizing that studying in Nigeria might affect my future goals. That way they will understand that you know what you are doing, not just that you just want to travel for traveling's sake. So these are the possible interview questions at the US Embassy. If you find this video useful, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to, click on the notifications icon. That's the bell icon beside the subscribe button. So whenever I make a new video like this, you don't get to miss it. See you guys next time. Bye.